Yeah, so you're on.
Well, I've been part of this effort since 1999 when I moved into my house on the corner right over there.
Okay, same one Freddie pointed
And
to.
yes.
Yeah.
Soon after we moved in, Dwayne DeWitt came knocking on our front door, introduced himself, and said, "Hey, you see this beautiful land in back of you?" So my neighbor right in back of us was the original owner of this land. He still lived here, Mr. Kemp. And they were wonderful neighbors, but he had lived on this land since 1954. Bought it from his father-in-law, who was an orchardist.
And there were prune orchards here. Is that what was?
I'm not sure if it was prune. It could have been prune.
I heard some people telling me earlier.
There were a lot of walnut orchards. There were prune orchards all around Roseland as well. So I'm not sure exactly what kind of trees were grown specifically on this property.
Okay.
But anyway, just through fate, this land had not been used agriculturally by either Mr. Kemp or the parcels to the south and south of the creek for many years, probably not since the mid 1900s. And so the nature has been preserved here in this area like very few other places in the city of Santa Rosa. And so once we realized what was out here, then it just seemed to make sense to preserve the wonderful nature that's here.
And how long has that make sense preserve effort been going on?
Oh, for 20 years now. So that was 1999, and it's 2019 now.
I see a little button on your. Let's get a close up on that button.
What Friends of the Neighborhood.
Okay, and who came up with that name?
Oh, the Neighborhood. I think Dwayne originally coined that term.
Okay, that sounds like one that he might have. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, there's so much here. To be preserved, and it's worth preserving. And I'm a retired educator, so I am
wonderful.
Really
Thank you for doing that.
Excited about the opportunities for environmental education and just natural world experience for the children of this community. We live in an area that is primarily socioeconomically disadvantaged. I'm on the school board. So we have like over 90% of our children are socioeconomically disadvantaged.
Wow, 90%.
Yeah. And our school community is largely immigrant-based, Latino, from the Latino community. And these children need to have experience, an opportunity for experience in nature. And in many instances, it's hard for their families to get across town to Spring Lake. Or, out to the ocean. So this gives them a ready-made nature experience right in their own backyard. And there are 3 elementary schools, within a quarter to a half a mile, certainly walkable from the school campuses, 3 elementary schools, a high school, and a middle school. And so I look at this as a grand opportunity for the educators in the schools and also organizations like the California Native Plant Society. The Laguna Foundation is interested. Audubon Society is interested in sponsoring events here, educational events.
What does it take to make that happen? Because I see people just kind of coming in on their own and walking, but you're talking about a more organized, orchestrated kind of thing.
These would be organized and orchestrated.
And does that mean putting in like restroom facilities and things like that, when you're bringing children and elders and others coming through here?
Well, the park plan does have limited restroom facilities, but it's not going to be like a full, brick and mortar restroom building, unfortunately, because there's no sewer service that extends down into the park. And so,
would that be something?
Water. There's no water and sewer that extends down.
But for the viewers, would that be a goal to get the kind of water running facilities?
You know what? I don't know. That's kind of like out of my wheelhouse.
But your personal desire, if you were to say you could have anything you wanted out here on this thing. You want to preserve the beauty
Yes.
that you have
Yes.
here. That's
Well,
primary,
what we'd like to
number
have is a
one.
nature center instead
Yeah.
of talking about restrooms. We'd like to have a nature center.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to have an outdoor classroom area, nothing developed, nothing concrete.
Right.
Just, like a clearing with like logs and stumps for
Places
sitting
to sit,
on.
yeah.
Yes, and gathering.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the area will just be used for experience. And there are all kinds of projects that you can do with children. And we've already been talking with the Parks Department and clearing this with the Parks Department. Everything will be coordinated with them when an organization wants to work in tandem with the schools to actually sponsor
Step over here. We've got
either a
some
conservation project or an educational project that would be ongoing here in the park. And so that's just, that's what we need to do. We've been talking with the school administration, we've been talking with the city officials, the Parks Department, and coordinating with them, and we're talking with environmental organizations who are very generous about volunteering their time and energy to share what they know.
You got Clean River, and you got a poet here, and who else? What other
California Native Plant Society.
California Native Plant Society.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're a wonderful group. Yeah, very enthusiastic, and they're actually sponsoring a project today. Out there, you can't see them, but they're out here on this property doing an invasive plant removal effort. Not digging in the ground, but removal that you can do without digging.
Now, speaking of what exists here, do you get told by the city, for lack of a better way to put it, that during high fire times you guys have to do anything with this, or you let it turn brown and then just come back, or how does all that?
Well, that is a topic for debate. My husband and I don't even agree with this. He wants the grasses and there are a lot of weeds in here.
Yes.
To just be left to grow and then die back naturally. I have been here personally for 3 times when the woods and the grassland actually had little wildfires in them. I'm retired, so I'm home all day, and I see the fire and call the fire department. So I am less comfortable with just these grasses, because they're not native grasses. They can grow 4 feet tall.
Right.
And they become a fire hazard in the early and midsummer and late summer. And so I appreciate once they've actually turned brown and died and turned brown, to have it mowed down.
Yeah, defensible space. I was just talking with Mr. Self over here, the poet, and he reminded me through his comments something that the Cal Fire people and the governor are now talking about publicly with respect to high growth and high density areas and stuff like that, that they're going to now start really urging people to do just what the Miwoks and Pomos and others did back in the day.
Exactly. That's what we would like to do in this regenerating oak woodland, because it has so much understory growth, so much undergrowth, and that is a fire hazard. And so we would not mind if more of the undergrowth is cleared out, is kept cleared out.
Yeah.
And even if they did like small controlled burns to keep that undergrowth tamed down,
because it'll come back again.
Yes, it will come back. So that if the woods do catch on fire, it won't become a conflagration that will spread to the surrounding, housing community. And so I'm all for that. I think it should be done, and it's not going to detract from the woodland at all to have more of the
matter of fact, it'll probably preserve this a lot longer without the threat and fear of being destroyed by fire or some other disaster.
Yes.
It's been a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much, Patricia, and have a good experience out here today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
You bet. My pleasure.
Okay.
Good to see you. All right.